If you are a player that wants to know how much money you gotta drop in Dragon Ball Super card game to play competitively, well, I'm gonna give you 10 different decks that have all made it on top, starting off with Android 18. If you're an Android 18 fan, rejoice, because check this deck out. This is probably like one of the most budget decks you could build. It's only gonna cost $589. For $589, I know that's a lot of money, but for $589, you got yourself this meta deck that at the Core TCG tournament, if you guys didn't watch, Tony G was actually commentating that event, and we were live streaming it on our channel. Android 18 actually got 15th place, and that's pretty darn good considering the fact that there are other decks out there that cost a lot more money than 500 bucks. And let's see what this deck has. Well, as you guys can see, it's running the 18 leader that's able to utilize the clone tokens to be able to self-awaken, and of course it's going to use the Android 21 scheme. As you guys can see right there, it pops clone tokens onto the opponent's side of the field. So if you are a huge Android 18 fan, you want to run this deck. So here's the list. It's not too bad of a list. It has removal, secret identity massing, which is good. So as you guys can see, Android 18 is a good go. And another meta deck to expect in the competitive scene, guys, is King Vegeta. King Vegeta is one of the newest leaders, and this guy is so much fun to play. Well, actually, look, $491. That's actually pretty darn good for a meta deck, and this one actually got 14th place. And the best part about Dragon Ball Super card game is that the meta is so diverse, meaning you could play against a multiple different types of decks in a competitive scene, and not like other card games that I've played, where I go to a tournament and it's literally the same deck back to back to back to back. Dragon Ball Super card game, for the most part, has a wide range of decks that could compete in the competitive scene. Like the King Vegeta, if you guys don't know, it utilizes a lot of the Saiyans, and being able to bring out the baby Vegetas, Brolys, and be able to bring out the adult versions, which we got the Vegeta over here and the Gokus. And of course, you want to bring out the SSB Vegeta that pretty much just stops your opponent from bringing out any battle cards or attacking with anything, because it minuses their cards -10. And if this card is killed, they create a life, which is so darn good. See, like one of the boss cards of this deck is just this SSB Vegeta. This King Piccolo is one of the most expensive cards in this deck, but it's so worth it. So darn worth it. It comes out for free, double strike to your opponent's face. No blockers could be activated. That's what that King Piccolo does. And Violent Rays is a pricey card, but this deck is going to drop down in price dramatically once the sets are reprinting these Violet Rays and these overpowered cards. So just wait for it, and this King Vegeta deck is going to be one you want to build, and you're not going to be dropping 60 bucks on a negate. So King Vegeta is a meta deck for sure. Also, let me know in the comment section if you guys like these type of videos where I just showcase the decks that are winning and go over them. Another deck that surprisingly is still good, guys, Invoker. If you guys don't know what I mean by Invoker, it's this leader right here, the Son Goku. I call it Invoker because it utilizes the Invoker keyword skill, which allows you to use extra cards for just one dual color energy. And of course, you gotta run the king of the collecting aspect of Dragon Ball Super, Son Goku Vegeta Apex of Power. See, that's where I'm iffy on playing this deck. You have to be big time balling to play this deck, because you have to run the secret rare that right now is apparently $1,000 according to this website. I don't know. I gotta check the price on that, because I'm not gonna play with $100 cardboard and risk damaging it. But Still very, very good. That's an instant win, victory strike, of course. You got your Vegetas in here that are barrier and allow you to use all the extra cards, and of course all the dual color extra cards. We got Sleepy Boy technique, you got some barrier removal, we got some counter plays, we got some board removal, we got Topo, of course, to stop your opponent from attacking, and of course Ultra Instinct to deal the catastrophic blow, instant damage. So this deck is extremely powerful and fun, and it runs Violent Rays, which is like a $50 card right now. But like I said, that card is going to get reprinted, so there's hope for us average Joes out here that don't want to break our wallet. Another meta deck you could also expect is King Piccolo. The reason I'm going over all these decks is because I really want you guys to see what decks to expect if you're trying to get into Dragon Ball Super card game competitively. These are the decks that are going to be coming out more often than not, and I want you to already have an idea of what is in the deck more or less, so you know how to counter it. So right here we got King Piccolo. King Piccolo utilizes the flipping your life over mechanic, and you're gonna be really able to take advantage of these cards like tambourine and drum that all come out in essence for free by utilizing the combo and flipping your life over mechanic that King Piccolo does. Overall, this is a deck that goes extremely wide, and it's gonna be bringing out a bunch of little minions that are the King Piccolo minions onto the field, and they're all 15k, so they're going to be able to poke at you. And then of course the King Piccolo, the new ruler, which is a very expensive card, around $40 right now, and King Piccolo Junior Unison is like one of the best ones. $6, that's a steal, guys. I would probably pick some up if you don't have some, if you want to build a red deck. And of course, what makes this deck expensive is the secret rare. This is a $800 deck, more or less. Honestly, the prices of these fluctuate because of the secrets, but this deck is expensive because of this Piccolo and the Violent Rays. He runs 3 Violent Rays. That right there is like $150. Holy cow! But just know what's in the deck, guys. Here is the list. Check it out. Let's pause the video and let's move on to another one. So we got Vegex. I said it in my meta deck video that Vegex is going to be meta, and it's still making it on the top tables. 8th place at the Core TCG tournament. And of course, what is it running? It's running the Gokus, the Vegetas, and the Fusion Xeno Gogeta, which is a 1-drop that comes out with Union Fusion and double strike to your opponent's face, warp one of your opponent's battle cards out of the face. So yeah, this is a pretty darn beast-like deck. This deck is very simple, as you guys can clearly see. It just has a lot of little 1-drops, Vegeta, Xenos, and of course the Gogeta, which is the main play. The reason I think this deck doesn't do too hot is because it's so linear and you already know what your opponent's gonna do, especially with this Gogeta. So just know how to play around it and you should be in the clear. But not too bad of a deck, $800. And it's expensive because of the Gogeta right here that costs $120 right now because it's so hard to get. And Katsukai is also $50. These 2 cards on their own make the deck expensive. Everything else is roughly pretty cheap. But we got this Overrealm SS4 Bardock that's also pretty expensive, $50. Dual attack to your face. I mean, there's the list, guys. It's very generic. Just a bunch of Gokus, Vegetas, and Gogeta into the fusion. Okay. So Dark Broly, this deck is one of the hardest decks to play against in my opinion because it could just do so much. It just 30k beater spamming, socking you in the face type of deck. The deck is roughly one of the cheaper ones now, which is pretty darn surprising. $320 for this deck, and honestly, it's one of the strongest decks. I still get very scared every single time I come across a Dark Broly player because they're able to do everything from hand control with this Dark Broly, from board removal with this other Dark Broly, from just spamming all these Dark Brolys onto the field to pressure you and double strike you in the face with this hidden power. This deck is pretty darn budget because of the secret that they are running, which is Hero's Lineage. And this one is able to steal your opponent's life. It's only around 60 bucks right now. That's a steal for a secret rare. It's up to you if you want to get it, because this one is the most budget secret rare that's utilized in almost a bunch of meta decks. So you definitely want to look into that one right there. Then we also have King Cole, which is one of the strongest decks that has came out. Look at King Cole right here, guys. This is a deck that you do not want to underestimate. It utilizes the King Vegeta right here that is able to more or less play your extra cards for free, and then these extra cards that you are running allow you to just take full control of the game by KOing cards, drawing cards. It just does so much. So much. And of course, you got all the counterplay Frieza charismatic villains to pop your opponent's cards that come out. You got King Cold, which is the green topo in essence. And then the boss card, Golden Frieza, that's able to double strike, dual attack in essence because of the activate main that restands and goes in with another swing. Of course, this deck is powerful, and the secret rare is what makes it pretty darn expensive, this Majin Buu. $300, guys, and this is like one of the best decks. You got 5th place, and it's pretty darn budget. See, Dragon Ball's not too broken. I mean, $300 is still $300, but it's nothing like this deck, which is another 800 bucks. And you got this Mecha Frieza, which everybody thought was going to be the first place winning deck, but it wasn't. I'll show you what the first place winning deck was, but this meta deck right here is extremely powerful. A professional player that could pilot this deck could just get out of any situation. As we're seeing, he probably only ran one of these mecha because this is like a $50 card. He probably didn't have more, but who knows, maybe he just wanted to run one. But this card right here is one of the best cards in the deck. Since your whole deck runs extra cards, this card's like a yellow topo, which stops your opponent from doing multiple attacks. You got Cold Bloodlust, which negates anything that comes into play. It's like one of the best cards. Of course, you got the secret rare. It's looking like they're running Supreme Kai of Time, but more or less, this is what you're going to be seeing in the Mecha Frieza deck. Mecha Frieza allows you to use extra cards for 1 cost less, some of them even being for free. And then you got Cooler to stop the negate from saving them, and you could go in with your double strike Champa for a game. So here is the Frieza deck. Very, very, very powerful. You definitely do not want to underestimate Mecha Frieza. Then a deck that I did mention on my meta decks. I didn't say it was one of the meta decks, but it is a meta deck. It's this Baby deck right here. So check it out. I knew Baby was going to be one of the best decks in the meta because it's just so counter meta. It just stops everything until you can get enough energy to kill your opponent with the Android 17 or the Baby Golden Avenger. And Android 17, when it comes out, it just destroys the entire hand and shuffles and leaves you with nothing, and then you have to deal with everything that your opponent has on the field, and you have nothing in hand. So yeah, this deck is still very powerful, especially with the new Unison Majin Buu that's really able to outpace, and since it's a blocker, that's even more negates you got to go through. So this is like an impenetrable wall type of deck. Of course, Hatchek's the most expensive, a $300 card. 640 bucks for this deck. Not too bad. Not my favorite deck to play. It's so boring to play and even more boring to play against. But that's the deck for you guys. It still wins. And first place, you wouldn't believe it, it's Cell. I did not mention this deck in my meta deck video. That's why I'm covering it now, guys, because Cell is no joke. It is coming for a vengeance. I am perfection. Cell perfection surpassed. This is a deck that pretty much is able to get any card in your deck to your hand, and then you just discard, and you could set up the board in a way where you hand control your opponent, you take all their hands away, you keep your pace with the apes by drawing cards, you bring out the Dark Broly. Once a Dark Broly Unison comes out, it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to survive, because this guy's a double striker and it keeps forcing board removal and makes your opponent lose hand advantage, and over the long run, that's how Cell ends up taking full advantage of the deck, because you're consistently hand destructioning them and utilizing your Frieza surprise attack with the 1-star ball to bring out the Frieza finisher when they have no cards in hand. So this is the deck that actually won first place. I would have never guessed Cell would have still be able to do it. Look, it's a $300 deck, guys. For 300 bucks, you can get into the meta. It doesn't even run any really expensive cards. It even ran the cheapest freaking secret rare just to go show you that you don't have to have a $500 secret rare to win. You could just have the right deck for the right meta. And this is the meta right now. So if you're going to a tournament, I'm glad you guys watched this list. Look at the cards that are more or less in the decks and try to know what's coming. That's how you get better at this game. You look, you learn, you lose, you win, and you get better. And that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys liked it. And like we always say, y'all stay super. Peace. Win, win, win so much.